People who bought a house. What is the weirdest thing you have found left by the previous owner? 1. My first house purchase in 2005, bought an old farmhouse that was built in 1923. The basement was filled with trash. We told them they needed to clean it all out before closing, but they didn't do it. The realtor asked if we wanted to postpone closing, and we decided no. Some of the stuff looked interesting enough. Maybe it will be worthwhile to go through. Most of it was just junk. Then, about halfway through, we were working our way from one end of the basement to the other, because you could barely walk through. I went to pick up what I thought was a small box, only to quickly realize it weighed at least 75 pounds. Upon further inspection, it wasn't a box, but a wooden square, 4 inches wide and about 12 inches by 12 inches, with 2 thin masonite plywood covers on each side. On one edge were 2 bolts with wires coming off that had been cut. Very strange, had no idea what it was, but thought it was interesting. So I put it aside and we kept going. At the very back of the basement, once we cleared everything else out, was a rickety gray cabinet, built into the house. Inside, were numerous strange small tools, vials of mercury, vials of a strange powder, and thousands, literally thousands, of dice blanks. Some actual dice, but mostly blanks without the dots. They were all in little boxes labeled dice blanks. Also very strange. Not too long after that, I met a guy and upon learning my address, he said, "Can I come over?" My best friend grew up in that house. He came by, and proceeded to tell me stories for an hour and a half about his childhood best friend's eccentric father, someone who was a part of the Dixieland Mafia in the 60s and 70s, and who made a living traveling around the US as a traveling gambler. The enormously heavy box was an electromagnet. And the dice blanks were for him to make his own loaded dice with a little bit of metal powder under the inlaid dot, so he could set up his own table with the electromagnet underneath, and turn it on when he wanted to persuade the dice. Pretty fascinating. 2. It's not really weird, but I think it's kind of a nice story. One of the kids' rooms has a shelf going all around the top edge, and when my kid was putting stuff up there, they found a letter from the previous kid. The letter welcomed them to the room and asked them to take special care of a rose bush in the front yard that was their special rose bush. My kid thought it was really cool to have that connection with the previous kid. 3. A glass bowl. It was kind of pretty, with horizontal blue stripes. We kept fruit in it. We thought about dropping it off at the local charity shop, but never got around to it. Then one day I was at an antique fair and I saw for sale glass bowls that looked almost identical to ours. I went home to get my bowl and brought it to be assessed. Turns out it was a vintage Orfors crystal bowl. The assessor valued it at around $800. We no longer keep fruit in it. 4. Not my house, but the school my friend worked at. A pipe had leaked and ruined a wall in the building, one of the oldest schools in the city. It was a beautiful property. Anyways, the pipe leaked, so they pulled down the ruined wall and behind the wall found a door. A fully furnished apartment was there. Had a coal-burning stove to heat it. Early 1900s appliances and decor. It was for the caretaker of the school. 5. Not really weird, but they left a typed out and printed note about the house and how to take care of it. Detailing all the plant life in the backyard and how to prep for the winter. Described how to take care of the hot tub and gave random tidbits about the electrical. They were good people. 6. That they wired a room by connecting the outlet with an extension cord inside the wall. 7. $1,200 in cash above the door on the inside the closet. I found it while painting. 8. The acreage my wife and I moved to 3 years ago had a bucket full of wrapped dinosaur bones. Took them to our local museum where they confirmed they are roughly 68 million years old. Pretty cool.